So the next step here is to go ahead and put the bends into the base of the coupler lift bar, which is this piece here. The part that actually rests on the pilot, you could call it the bar stop. The very base piece here, this little piece right here that I'm clamping onto, this needs to be bent out. So how you do this, I use a metal weight like this. You want to have a very solid metal object, something that's not going to bend itself or ding. So don't do this on wood or anything else. I just take the pair of pliers, take it like that. And this is kind of hard because I got to do this at a very difficult angle. But you essentially just lean it up on the part and put the bend in like that. And as you can see, it's now bent. There we go. So you can see that bend there. So that's one side. On the opposite side, flip it over. This is the easy part once you get it on this side. And you just repeat the same process. Bend it like that. Just kind of make sure that they're all about the same. There we go. And now we have the finished piece ready to be installed. So we'll go ahead and look at the first model that we're going to be installing these newly made coupler lift bars on. I have a U36 prepared for coupler lift bar installation. I've taken and made some little styrene brackets to fit the coupler lift bars upon. Some people use eye bolts, but there are, I think, some detail parts available from Detail Associates or Details West. I can't remember exactly. They have the little brackets, but essentially it's just a little piece of like stock like this that has a little loop through it. Other people use lift rings, stuff like that. So whatever you want to do there, my simple method is just to make the brackets from little bits of 0.10 inch, maybe 0.5 inch styrene, depending on the prototype and what kind of bracket it has. But I've prepared the work area here. I got my stock installed, and I'm going to go ahead and use super glue to install these CA. And what I like to do is take a little bit of glue on a piece of paper. In this case, this piece of paper in the corner here. I take a piece of rubber wire, pick up a little adhesive, I put it on each bracket. You only need a little bit, not too much. And then I take the coupler lift bar and I essentially just guide it on. You can use tweezers, pliers, you can sometimes do it by hand, but in this case I need to get in this fine space, so I'm going to use tweezers. I'm just going to try to guide the lift bar on there. If I can actually get it, there we go. The main part of the coupler bar done, we need to now, with the main part of the coupler, with the main part of the lift bar now completed, we need to make the pin puller, the section of metal that goes in the center of the coupler lift bar. So it's this piece here. It's very, very simple to do. This is probably the easiest part of it. Again, you just take some wire here, wire stock. In this case, you make a couple quick bends, take a little bit into your pliers like this, just enough to fit it in there, grip it tight. So now it's time to make the small little section of the coupler lift bar known as the pin holder, which is the little extension off the coupler lift bar itself. So this is probably the easiest part to make of the coupler bar itself, and again what we're going to use is some wire stock. I just take it in my pliers, center it right in the jaws, grip it down nice and tight, and bend it. So that's the first bend. Now we'll extend it out a little bit and figure out how far we need to make it. Again, refer to prototype photos and trying to figure out how far and how big you need to make this. In this case, mine needs to extend out just a little bit. So right there, bend it. Like that. Now you'll have a little angle to it like this, so you want to keep that. Then measure it out. Compare it to my other part here. Just make sure all these are the same. You have to go in a little bit. There we go. Okay, make sure things are straight. Bend it. Make sure it's straight. Straighten it out there. There we go. And then this is kind of the hard part here, because you want this all to line up so that it fits centered on the lift bar. I'm just going to kind of figure where we need to bend this. Just maybe a little bit more in here. Again, you can use another piece of wire to kind of figure where you need to make that bend. There we go. It's definitely helpful because then you know how everything's going to line up here. So I need to go a little farther out, like that. Bend it down, like that. Get it lined up, and you can see it's pretty much perfect. So this is the hook part of the coupler lift bar. Now all we got to do is trim it. Always be careful when you trim these parts, because this wire will go flying. So I try to trim it all the way down to the shaft like this, and my cutters. I take it up against my self-healing cutting pad. That way it kind of catches the wire like that. You don't have a projectile wire shooting all over the place, because I've definitely had my share of incidents with that. One time it actually shot in my eye and got stuck in my eye, and I had to pull it out. It's pretty weird. It's a weird feeling to have a piece of wire sticking out of your eye. So that's why you need to be, be careful with this. But anyway, final trimming here. Now the installation of these parts is very simple. Just take a little bit of glue just right at the end. Not that much. I'm using straight super glue here. Gel super glue and medium CA are usually the best to use for this. You simply line it up, center it in the lift bar itself, and you're just gonna attach it here like so. There we go. Now it's pretty much attached here, and you can basically proceed to do all the final little adjustments to it. Just make sure it's bent down enough that it reaches over the knuckle of the coupler like this. So I'll bend it down quite a bit, and then I'll let it sit up and dry. So as you can see, the installation of these coupler lift bars is pretty basic. These ones went on within a matter of minutes, and again, these were handmade. This only cost literally cents to make, practically pennies. Again, that steel wire especially, it just works very well, and now you have a very durable coupler lift bar. You can see I can really put some force onto these parts, and they're not going to break off. So they have some durability to them. They're very strong, and they won't bend like brass wire. So the last prototype I'm going to show you is this cool looking CEFX GP38-3 and X-Rail America unit that's in current lease service, and this is a model I'm making myself. And as you can see, this has a very common style of coupler lift bar that you see on a lot of locomotives. This early CSX Union Pacific style coupler lift bar, which is basically a stock old school coupler lift bar with grab irons basically installed and welded on. It's a very interesting shape and design. As you can see, it's a very peculiar shape, and I basically want to replicate this for my model of CEFX3804. So, how do we do this? The issue that we face with the steel wire is that the material is a bit harder to bend, and it's not as easy to manipulate. This is a very, very fine piece, so we need to be able to replicate this. And this is where the brass wire technique comes into hand. Okay, so the shots didn't work out like I thought I would. I thought I could be able to get in here and kind of show this to you, but I can still basically show you how to do the coupler lift bar with some spare brass that I have. But essentially what I've done here, I have the completed model of 3804, more or less complete. There's still a couple things I got to do to it, and as you can see, I now have the coupler lift bars pretty much installed. These did take a little bit more time to create, but essentially I did the same method demonstrated to make the base of the coupler lift bar to represent an early coupler lift bar with these welded on handles. So I'm going to basically show you how to make this little detail and add these to these stock metal coupler lift. So just like before, this is essentially a matter of taking your tools, the pliers and cutters, to manipulate brass wire instead of steel wire. So how do you do those rounded corners on a coupler lift bar like that? Well, essentially you're going to make a little bit of a nifty little trick here to do this. Essentially what I like to do with small parts like this is use a round piece like this, say a brush, a tip of a brush, a micro brush like this, to essentially manipulate the wire around. So I can take a piece of brass wire like this, in the sake of these curved handles, I can bend the brass wire around the piece like this, and essentially I've created the first bend. And then essentially what I can do after that is manipulate this brass wire, bend it around a little bit. Obviously with the brass wire it's a lot easier to work with. So essentially you make all your bends, measure it out, and then you make your bend straight down. And again, that's pretty much it. It's a kind of a rushed version, but essentially what you would do after that is create your bend here at the base of the bar, and then you would just essentially glue this to your steel wire or brass coupler lift bar. But that's essentially how you can do these more complex shapes. And again, this is a style you see a lot, so this is where brass wire comes in handy. This is just another trick and utilizing your materials, using them the right way. Alright, so as you can tell, there's definitely a couple ways you can make these coupler lift bars, and it's very affordable. It's easy to do compared to utilizing or continuing to buy, you know, $5 detail parts that are often bent out of shape, and then you got to pay shipping for, or sometimes go out of stock and are hard to find. Again, it's just a really good alternative, and it saves a lot of money. It's easy to do, and of course you have the option to do any kind of coupler lift bar really that you want compared to the limitations that we have currently in the modern market. So hopefully this inspires you guys to go out, try some things, make your own. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. You can also get a hold of me on Facebook. My name on Facebook, Daniel Arnold. My Facebook page is Dan's Custom Trains. You can follow me there. I'm always posting pictures of work like this for other people and stuff of my own. And it's the same on Instagram. My Instagram tag is CoolHandDan05. All lowercase. Again, always posting pictures of certain projects and stuff like that I do. But yeah, again, I hope this video was encouraging to you guys and will inspire you to try this techniques basically on your own. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Take it easy, guys.